Welcome into DC On Screen, episode 378. This is your weekly DCEU news. I am your host, David C. Robertson. This, my co-host, Jason Goss.
Hi, and sorry.
What you sorry for, buddy?
I were sick.
You were sick.
I were sick last week.
You were.
It was rough. I called Dave to tell him, like, hey man, I can't do it. And I made it no more than 2 minutes before I was in a bad way.
Yeah.
I won't get into detail. I'll spare people details, but I was in a bad way.
Sure. Well, you know, I think it worked out okay. We got our buddy Matt Carroll from the Marvel Cinematic Universe podcast to come on over. And, you know, he's not in the thick of the DCEU news every week, and he doesn't get to talk about it a whole lot. No. So things got a bit wayward. But it was, you know, it was fun, and it was like 3 parts fun, 1 part frustrating. But it was... I think it was a good time.
He's as ADD as we are, and he's pointed in a different direction. So, you know,
I realized
importantly, I think he's going to buy Injustice 2, and we just need to go like hunker down with him. Like, pizza's on us the whole weekend. Yeah. Hunker down with him for Injustice 2 and play that game.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know,
we don't have that system.
And you know, our buddy Brent Clark over on the DCTV Squadcast podcast had to like poke some fun at us. He was like, "Oh, this week on the DCEU news, they talk about Star Trek, Star Wars, This Is Us, Party of 5. Oh, and some DCEU news." we got off on some stuff, but you know, I think that may have been my fault a little bit. Like, me and Matt haven't actually had a chance to talk. I think we were just
catching up a little. You know,
I think we may have been catching up a little more than we should have. But
I mean, yeah, y'all are old compadres.
Oh yeah. It's encroaching upon 30 years now.
Oh Lord.
Mm-hmm.
It's got me beat.
Mm-hmm. So anyway, I thought we had some fun, and we've actually got a few bits of news here. It's not a huge amount of news this week, but the Wonder Woman news is really amping up.
Cool. About time.
Well,
I mean, I don't think they did. Like I agree with what you said last week. I think it was they were waiting for Guardians of the Galaxy, and that being said, I saw Guardians of the Galaxy this week. It was fantastic.
I haven't seen it yet.
My wife saw it with me, and she doesn't care about any of this crap. Like she does not care about our comic book crap at all. Like she's just. When it's funny, it's funny. When it's amusing, it's music. She doesn't have like an emotional investment in any of these people.
Well, that's not completely true anymore. Your wife bought a Wonder Woman comic on Free Comic Book Day.
She did, and there's a whole thing about Free Comic Book Day I want to get into. But I knew Guardians of the Galaxy was a good movie when toward the end of it. And you bear in mind, I have to juxtapose this to like when she went to the first movie with me because she thought it was. The trailer looked funny, and Chris Pratt was funny, like suddenly hot. So she thought she'd go to the movie with me, and that was, you know, okay. But there was a moment where she leaned in and went, "I don't know what's happening." And it was about the time they got to like the I forget what they call it. It was like that giant skull. It was like a space harbor. But this movie, she followed it completely. There was no like audience disconnect in her. I knew it was good. Toward the end, I actually heard her sniffling.
Oh,
yeah.
I don't want to know why because I haven't seen it yet.
I'll
tell you this:
it is an emotional movie in some ways. Like, I left the theater and I said this to her: "Is like, look, we both gut laughed and we both cried. That's a good movie." And she had to agree. Like that's a solid film.
Yeah, I will admit I didn't like around the Skull Harbor moment in the first one when I first saw it. I didn't know what was going on either, but that was I'd lost track. But that was largely because my back was out. Like for whatever reason, like
you were high on pain.
No, it wasn't even really that. It was like one of my ribs had gone out.
Oh,
like, had kind of shifted, and it was like pulling the muscles in my chest and my arm. My arm was going numb. My chest was kind of stingy and tight. I thought I was having a heart attack. So the entire movie, I'm sitting there like having an intense panic attack.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that'll do it, man.
Yeah, like I can't breathe. Like I got up and like walked around, and I was doing it for the Entertainment Roundtable. Like we were there to go see it. We were all there together to see it for the radio show that I used to do.
The Steve West and all.
Yeah, which actually he's left that show. It's real weird, but it's still on. And I think there's on. You can listen to them through looking for Screensplosion, but they may have switched it over now. But gosh, it was terrifying. Later on, I watched it and I was like, oh, okay, this is followable. This is good. Like, even like, going out, I'm like, it seemed like it was really good.
No, it was
Everyone seemed happy, but,
it was a tight movie before. I mean, I mean the technical term, not the slang term. But this one as well, a tight script.
Isn't the slang term technical anyway?
No.
Oh, no?
No, tight to me is just like extra words for cool or, cool, really. Yeah, but I mean, it's well written. Like the first one was well written. I thought this one was well written too. I thought they were both, provocative, but, importantly though, it made my wife cry. And, at that point I thought, yep, we've got a movie here. Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen it though, so
this is the same woman though. Like she picks and chooses when she wants to care about things. Like we have a redo honeymoon coming up because our first was terrible. She broke 2 bones and separated a muscle. So we have like the universe owes us a mulligan on our honeymoon, and we've got one coming up, and like we're gonna get back on like Tuesday. Basically, is a travel day for us. And then we've got like Wednesday to recoup. Like technically Wonder Woman comes out on Friday, but really it's going to come out on Thursday because that's how things work these days. Mm-hmm. And I asked her if she wanted to go, and she's got to she's going to rebound. She's going to Chicago like just after we get back from Mexico, like on that Friday. Like she's basically going to be in town for 48 hours and half recouping, and then she's got to go to Chicago, which at least thankfully is in the same, time frame as us. But for a second, though, I was like, well, I mean, do you not want to go see Wonder Woman on Thursday? And she gave me this, like, still determined look like, oh, I'm seeing Wonder Woman. Because it's Wonder Woman.
I kind of need to know, whether this is off air or not, if we're going to do a podcast directly after then.
Oh, I've already warned her we're going to do a podcast after it. Like, I've already warned her that everyone's going to come over. We're going to have a thing. It's going to be a big deal.
Because I'm seeing Wonder Woman.
It's going to be, it's going to be a thing. But, and I love her for it. She's, and I'm a feminist too. It's like she's hardcore, and she ain't missing Wonder Woman, man. It's not happening.
She shouldn't.
Also, and I know you're going to bring it up later because I know it's in our news, but man, have you seen that trailer? I mean,
absolutely,
it looks fantastic.
That's actually the first thing I was going to jump into.
Yeah, go for it. Hit it up.
All right, so they released the final trailer for Wonder Woman at the MTV Movie and TV Awards show. That's where they dropped it. They put it in Guardians of the Galaxy 2. I defy you to claim that they're not promoting the thing.
Yeah. Can that finally be the death knell?
Oh, I wish it could be.
Of the, Marvel and Warner Brothers don't like each other argument? Come on, man.
Yeah. They're scratching each other's backs, man. We all know what this is about.
Yeah, they all want this content to survive.
There's a great interview. You have to pay for the app or whatever, the premium service now to get it, but there's a great interview with Will Ferrell on Mark Maron's podcast where he talks about he has this whole ploy where he goes to a toy store and he buys all this fake money, he puts it in a leather briefcase, like an executive briefcase. Uh-huh. And he plans to, like, at the end of his interview with Lorne Michaels, just, like, stop Lorne Michaels in the middle of talking and going, Lorne, we can talk all day, but I think we both know the only thing that really talks. And he, like, opens the briefcase and just starts putting fake money onto Lorne Michaels' desk. And he goes, cash money. He never actually got to do that, and it's a pretty fantastic story. He tried it 2 or 3 times, but that is really the only thing that talks is money. And
no, I would have loved to have done that in like high school debate team.
Oh yeah,
just
it'd have been hilarious.
And your rebuttal, and just open the briefcase. Just start throwing it at the 2 judges.
Like, Jason, you get an A, but not for the right reasons.
Yeah.
I just want to point... Oh, that's not fair. No, it's completely fair. This is how the world works, sweetie. But no, we had a couple of weeks ago James Gunn and Jeff Johns telling people to stop fighting.
Yeah, it's a manufactured war, I'll call it.
And I think the fans are mostly the ones that are manufacturing it. Is what the sad thing is.
Yeah, and you get where it comes from to some extent, but it's not real. Like we're all on the same side here. We all want these movies, and it has thing, though, justified itself at this point as its own genre, where we're going to be able to get these movies for decades now because everyone has gone and spent their money.
Right.
If everyone had been divisive and not spent their money on the other team's films, we might not have.
Yeah.
So
absolutely,
go spend your money.
But that's the sad thing is I don't think everyone is on the same side. There are the people out there who are just really angry and don't want a certain side to win. I mean, I wasn't the hugest fan of Civil War. I wanted it to be really good, though. Like, I always want all of these movies to be really good. I want every movie I sit down to go see to be really good. I don't want to waste my money. Anyway.
Yeah. Honestly, what I equate it to is, for me, DC's the Beatles and Rolling Stones are Marvel.
Really?
I really enjoy going over to the Rolling Stones.
Yeah.
But I really love the Beatles. Like, I can go over and listen to a Rolling Stones album and be as happy as I want to be. But, end of the day, I'm going to go back and put Beatles on when I go back home.
I guess if you, in those terms, I would think of DC as Bob Dylan and Marvel as the Beatles.
That's fair. I would also accept the Kinks instead in any of these interchanges.
Just for fun. No, the Kinks is Dark Horse. They're just there.
Or Vertigo, actually. Actually, Vertigo might be more apropos. Like they,
a little bit.
Yeah, they stand out. Like I've always said of the Kinks that when they were on point, they rocked harder than the Rolling Stones and they wrote better than the Beatles at like little peak moments. Not in general, but little peak moments where like there was like just a second where like you go, oh my god, that was incredible.
I don't know. Any statement that requires that many qualifiers might not be worth saying.
Well, it's very technical. It's a very technical statement.
I get you. Speaking of music, what did you think of that Imagine Dragons song on the Wonder Woman trailer?
Inevitable.
Inevitable?
Yeah. Absolutely inevitable. I wondered how long it was going to take before people started using Imagine Dragons in superhero films. I thought it was going to be one of the X-Men films with the radioactive.
Oh, okay.
That didn't happen.
Or that should have been Spider-Man.
Oh, yeah, that would have worked too. Yeah, but the timing wasn't there. Didn't happen. I could, like, when I heard radioactive, I thought, oh, this is supposed to be a trailer. And it just didn't pan out. But I heard this one, and Imagine Dragons is one of those like bands where like I hear them and think I wouldn't re-listen to you, but if you're on, I'm not turning you off. It's okay.
I'm not scoffing.
Yeah,
actively.
Like I'm not gonna like turn the radio off in spite of you. I'm just not. No. I'm not gonna like seek you out.
I'm just gonna tap my foot and roll my eyes a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. I'm gonna hipster you. I'm gonna hipster you a little bit.
Yeah. I'll enjoy it, ironically.
Yeah.
No, I like this Wonder Woman trailer. I thought the Imagine Dragons was kind of fun.
It was fun.
It's getting a lot of flack with the fan base.
Why?
People are annoyed because it's Imagine Dragons and it's a period piece. Pretty much, that's why. That's their explanation. I think they're just
what.
I think they're I don't know, man. They're digging for truffles. You know what I mean?
I don't know what you want. Like, there aren't period pieces that can match that cinematography. Like Patty Jenkins so far has knocked it out of the park. This thing looks fantastic.
It really does.
I don't know if the story will hold up. I haven't seen it yet, but it looks great.
They actually said Dr. Poison in the thing.
Yeah, they solved that mystery for us just in case there was anything going around. It looks fantastic. I don't know what.
It absolutely does.
What do you want? Like 1400 Pennsylvania Avenue to play in the middle of this? What do you like? Bing Crosby's not going to cut it for this trailer.
Yeah, I don't know. I could go with something.
I have 4 different double vinyls of the Glenn Miller Band. None of that shit will work.
I'm not sure that's true.
Oh, maybe I'm sure. I've listened to it. No. I've listened to all of it.
Hey,
not going to work.
There's some old World War I era stuff that might be able to work.
Negative.
It wouldn't have the same effect. It would be more funny than cool.
There is actually a chance if you did some like old like Sunhouse blues, there's a chance that might have. Like you put some Robert Johnson on this thing, it might have worked.
Yeah.
But I was still cool with Imagine Dragons.
But anyway, yeah, I thought it was fine. I thought it was a fun trailer. There's a lot of action. Still no Ares. Still no Ares, and I'm proud of that. I'm so happy for them.
I am. I feel like they learned their lesson.
And it's also really cool because we get to see the shot of Steve Trevor with the lasso, like, proper.
Yes.
Which, well, I don't think it was on the previous trailers. I finally got those effects locked in.
Yeah.
And I think it looks like a phenomenal trailer. I don't know. And by the way, this is happening after Guardians of the Galaxy has been released. Oh, I guess I was right, huh?
I mean, really,
just,
like I watched this thing in the Guardians, in the theater. Like, the marketing has begun.
Oh my gosh, that shot of her like screaming with that wall of flames behind her, was that not badass? Was that just not like everything?
No, there are several moments in that trailer where you think, oh man, I want to see this right this now.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Right now and nothing less. Bring it to me. And I know you have it somewhere.
They released the Wonder Woman alley fight scene. Have you seen this thing?
Yeah, that little like sneak peek.
Yeah, it's like the full alley scene.
Yeah.
Where he's like, stand back, and then she like stops the bullet, and he goes, well, maybe not.
Yeah.
And of course, she's just awesome, and like takes down all of these cats, except for that one dude that he punches in the face. I was pretty happy with all of that.
Well, I mean, she just kind of left him for him. Chris Pine he is actually a funny guy. Like you see the nice shot of like there's somebody like passing him as they're falling down, and he thinks about punching him, but he's kind of like, he's already kind of falling. he's kind of taken care of.
He's a really good actor. Like, if you don't believe me,
I really do think he was the right choice for Steve Trevor. Like, especially with the tone of this film, I'm starting to think, I think they made the right call.
Well, that's the thing about Chris Pine. He is the right choice for everything. Like, I'm not joking. I'm kind of I'm like a real fan of his.
Starting to become a Chris Pine fan?
Well, look at he has like over the course of the 3 Star Trek movies, he became more and more Shatner. He did, and did it well without parody.
At no point has he been my problem with any of those Star Trek movies.
He did not parody anything.
Like, was there a point? I know you had problems with the first one.
Sure.
Not as much as the second one. I think the second one you had more problems with.
From a storytelling perspective, yes. I felt like there were a lot of strange editing choices.
There were some flaws there, and there was like the overall problem with the teleportation. That's like it's the whole thing to get into. And
yeah, there was some problems. Yeah.
Yeah, but like the third, it was overall pretty good. I mean, like everything's got its flaws, but it was overall a pretty good film. But at any point, did you blame Chris Pine?
No.
He kind of did his job, right?
Chris Pine, I saw him years ago in a movie called Smokin' Aces. If you've ever seen that movie, he is a weird criminal type.
I have seen that movie. I don't remember him though. I just remember like
he disappears so fully into that role, you do not remember him. Like when he was cast as Kirk in 2009 Star Trek, people were like, "Oh, he's in Smoking Aces," and I'm like, "Really? Where?" And I went back and watched it again. I was like, "Oh, that's him. What?" He's a solid actor. He could really pull off anything. He really could.
That might be worth rewatching. Good. I remember Ryan Reynolds doing a good job as he normally does.
Oh, sure.
And I remember Card Tricks and thinking he actually learned those card tricks. Like,
yeah, you remember the like the three like whatever they were, like hillbilly brothers?
Yeah,
he was one of them. Chris Pine.
That might be worth revisiting.
And have you seen Horrible Bosses 2?
No, I've seen none of the Horrible Bosses franchise.
You should see both of them because they're both hilarious. But
Charlie Day's involved. Like, I'm up for it.
And Jason Bateman and Jason Sudeikis.
None of these are bad things. And Colin Farrell.
Jamie Foxx is amazing, and Kevin Spacey. Like, these are movies you should be watching.
Yeah.
The second movie convinced me that Chris Pine could play the Joker.
All right. Well, I may have what I'm doing next weekend just for science purposes.
Anyway.
All right, we should do news. What else we got?
We're veering.
I hope everyone followed us. If you didn't, well, screw you. You're not listening anymore. Anyone else? Thanks for following us.
So there's a new TV spot out. It shows a lot of the same footage, Wonder Woman footage. But it states Metropolis has Superman, Gotham has Batman, now the world has Wonder Woman. I enjoyed that.
Cool concept.
You know, a lot of people are saying like, oh, they're trying to tout her superiority. I don't think it's about that. I think it's about the theme song, the old theme song. The world is waiting for you. I think that's what they're referencing anyway.
I mean, I just think it's more accurate. I mean, she's even based in, DC in the comics. Like, she's more globally minded than the rest of the Trinity.
Yeah.
I mean, Batman will tell the Justice League to fuck off if he's got a Gotham mission he feels like is more important.
Yeah, like, Gotham needs me.
Yeah, and Superman will stop everything that's happening to go save Lois Lane. It is what it is.
But there's also that moment where Superman's like, dude, Gotham is part of the world. The world isn't... All right.
Well, yeah, those, like, the world's finest have that battle, but Wonder Woman's always on the side going like, yeah, so I'm just gonna deal with the world.
My favorite version of Batman, and I know I'll probably get flack for this, but my favorite version of Batman is like a combination of the Grant Morrison, Mark Waid Batman, who, he's like, fine, I'll just go play on my own sandbox. But he's like secretly got like 3 more monitors up, kind of seeing what's going on with the Justice League. And when they
make sure he doesn't miss anything too big.
Oh my gosh, let me go help them.
Yeah.
Like when suddenly fairy tales are real and he has to go hang out and tell the Flash to come over and, hey man, so this is what's going on. Don't tell the others I told you because they kicked me out, but whatever. Patty Jenkins was talking a little bit about why she thinks it's taken so long to get a Wonder Woman film made. She said, the only thing I can think of is that the genre became synonymous with young men, and so I think there was a concern that they wouldn't be as interested in a female lead, and it's taken years for that to sort itself out. That's all it comes down to. For many years, I was asking the question you're all asking, why is no one making this movie? In America, look at Halloween. There are hundreds of people dressed as Wonder Woman every year. She's got a huge fan base, so why aren't we doing this? I think that's probably accurate. Hundreds. Not thousands. Definitely not millions. Hundreds. I personally think, though, that there was also a huge lack of knowledge on how best to present the character. It's only been, like, really recently that they've given, like, an answer beyond magic clay for her origin. And we know that they've been at least interested in cracking that code of how to make a Wonder Woman movie since, like, I don't know what, like 95, 96.
Yeah.
We covered all that in DC films that never happened.
Yeah. They've been looking at it for a while. I would still, like, in the U.S. alone, we've got like 500 million people. I'd still bet there are, a couple thousand people dressed up as Wonder Woman, minimally.
Yeah. But look,
I bet it's 4 digits.
I don't think that is as simple as Patty is saying, because even Batman and Superman have been the target for change in comic books, because comic book movies in general I think have had a hard time being accepted in a way that would honor the source material that would please fans in the mainstream audiences.
Yeah.
And
the genre has faced like a lot of it's had to metamorphose itself several times to adapt to what to the criticism, you know.
And I think if there was a Wonder Woman before this, if there was a Wonder Woman movie before this one, I really seriously doubt it would have been one we wanted to see. Like I
agree. It would have been kind of campy and stupid, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, think Thor's appearance in '88's The Incredible Hulk Returns. Like, you don't want that.
No, I think this might have been just the right time.
Also, no one in the mainstream public really can name a Wonder Woman villain. Like, and the comics have been, I don't know, historically low sellers for, the majority, like, off and on, but, like, they've gone through, like, in the 60s, they had a whole thing like, what do we do? And they took away her, like, Amazonian armor and stuff.
Yeah.
Kind of, gave her bell bottoms and made her like a hip and happening chick. And then they changed her again in the 80s. She had, like, the 80s and 90s, she had, she looked like Rogue. She had the little, like, the little short leather jacket and stuff. Like,
yeah.
Man, they've been trying to figure Wonder Woman out for a minute. Like, she's huge as an icon and not a joke like Aquaman, but still, like, not as popular as you would hope. Like, it's been hard to get her right.
But that has made sense. Like, the amount of women reading comics has always been traditionally lower, and I'm being conservative saying that, than guys reading comics. And that being said, she's been around for, a good 75 years now, where the idea of women has changed over those years. It's extraordinarily. I mean, it's an entirely different picture. If you ask me in 1939 what a woman is supposed to be and do, versus if you ask me right now what is a woman supposed to be and do, it's entirely different answers. Mm-hmm. And the comics have, to some extent, had to catch up with that, and they've also tried to chase ratings to some extent. Like they've tried to chase sales, and that's going to result in some weirdness. It is. It's going to result in some weirdness and some kind of reaching here and there.
Yeah, yeah. I'll say this: I'm 33 years old. Mm-hmm. We're just a few months apart. Yeah. In my lifetime, I've been, attacked by women for reading Wonder Woman because they say, like, and by multiple women who say either the only reason I'm reading Wonder Woman is because I like big boobs and she's half naked, or because I'm gay. The landscape has completely changed in the last few years. Like,
I'm sure there's a small percentage for which both of those are true.
Yeah, but I'm over here going, no, she's just awesome. Like, look, she snapped Maxwell Lord's neck, and they're like, no, there's something wrong with you.
No, she's got an incredibly awesome storyline internally. She's intrinsically cool. It's fine. And like this is the fun part about humans is we always exist on a bell curve. So there's a percentage for which those idiots were actually telling the truth. But
sure.
Yeah, for the most part it's she has, like, at terms straggled, at terms at times it's been more of like a triumphant return, at times she's hung out in the background. I don't know, but I think this is a good time for her. Really do think it's a good time for her, and I really do think the movie's gonna do a lot for the character.
Yeah, I mean, look, man, I'm excited for this. I mean, Linda Carter's complete series set is sitting next to my Batman and Robin with Adam West and Burt Ward, and that in turn is sitting next to my complete series of George Reeves Superman on my shelf over here. Mm-hmm. I love all this crap. I can't wait for Wonder Woman. I'm chomping at the bit to see this thing.
Yeah,
absolutely. I don't know that all the world's waiting for, but I certainly am.
I finished the trailer. Even watching Guardians, I finished the trailer for Wonder Woman and thought, oh, if that was just playing right now, I'd fuck Guardians. Like, that would be fine. I would just watch Guardians tomorrow. It's cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, actually, I watched it at Sunday at about 3 o'clock. So I was like, cool, I can watch Guardians at 7. It's going to be on again. It's the biggest movie in America right now. I can watch it on the half hour. Just show me Wonder Woman.
Yeah. Did you ever see you remember the Total Justice or JLA action figure line back in the 90s?
No.
Well, they made like a line of figures like in 97, I think. Mm-hmm. And they were like the first like comic book accurate figures that they've done in a really long time that were available in retail. And I bought all of those, and then they parlayed that into a JLA line that was after the Grant Morrison run. And they had like they both like red and blue Electric Superman. And nice. They did a whole bunch of them, and I was super happy. They did like repaints of some of the Total Justice figures. And then they announced finally they were going to do Wonder Woman, like Red Tornado and Impulse and Superboy, I think. From a little half Young Justice League, and Wonder Woman was in there. Mm-hmm. And oh my gosh, like every week, like I didn't have a car or anything. Like I was a kid. I had I like begged and had like one of my parents take me up to the mall to go to KB Toys and see if they had them in yet. And I finally got them. It was a thing of beauty. Like I was like, they were like, and they didn't understand. They were like, "What do you mean Wonder Woman? Why do you want a Wonder Woman toy?" I'm like, "It's a Wonder Woman toy. What are you talking about? Why wouldn't I? I have all the others anyway." And I still have that. I found them. I got them.
Nice.
I don't envy my parents, man. I was a messed up kid.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
I understand
Patty
the
Jenkins.
instinct there.
Oh yeah, Patty Jenkins was talking to Glamour magazine about her interpretation of Wonder Woman. She said, "I based her on the original comics and Linda Carter's version. I followed the rules that I believe in. Wonder Woman does not hurt people for fun. She doesn't use violence unless she has to, and when she has to, she's incredibly adept. Everybody assumes she has to be a badass. Of course, she has to be a badass. It was my duty to say being a badass doesn't mean she's not loving, funny, warm, all those things. Wonder Woman stands for being good, loving, truthful. I have an 8-year-old boy, and he's like, 'Mommy, I need the new Wonder Woman doll.' Sound familiar? He's not embarrassed. It doesn't occur to him that you don't need Wonder Woman to come and kick ass for your storyline. Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. So she was talking to Total Film about the change in attitude towards female superheroes. And she says, I think there's been a lag in catching up to where feminism has gone. It's taken a long time before a woman who can fight can actually be treated like a universal character. I think there has a lot of fear associated with Wonder Woman. People were like, how can a woman fight? How can a woman be sexy and be violent at the same time? I think, well, easily. I think it's finally time we can just stop talking about that aspect of it, and she can just be a universal character. Many other universal female protagonists are showing up on screen where they're the main character, not a woman main character. I'm all for that. I don't really care.
I know. I know what she's saying though. Like normally, females are portrayed as like the, I don't know, like prom queen kind of archetype.
Yeah.
Or it's the violent archetype that's it takes all of the feminine qualities out of them to do that. And yeah, like Wonder Woman's going to be this, and I'm really excited to see it. She's going to be this kind of like mid ground where, yeah, like sexy and violent can be in the same person. It happens all the time in male characters, and we don't think twice about it.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm a little offended because like males are often portrayed as like the bad guy males. Or like portray even the good guy males. If you go back far enough in film, they're just dicks. They're just awful, and that's just like it's like come on. Some of them are okay.
They're okay. Yeah,
it's like I don't know. It's like how like female bad guys are like at least sexy. They're like they're gonna like woo a guy with their
usually
charms.
They make them like
and
Uma Thurman,
like
Poison Ivy kind of deal. Like there's the seduction aspect to it or something.
I was actually thinking about ScarJo over in Lucy when she was like, come over here, and then she like beats the crap out of the dude. Like you never see a guy do that in a movie. Like It's like it also.
I gotta
like,
admit that trick
sort of,
is rarely employed. Yeah, there's probably an instance of it. I just can't remember it.
And I kind of wish that like the movies that did have those women who were like, "Oh, come over here," like, can we at least have like one guy who doesn't fall for that crap? Like, there are smart men in the world.
Well, normally, like in the world of writing, though, that's like that happens all the time. It's just it's a comedy trope. Like the girl tries to be seductive and can't get it done, and then the guy like brushes her off, and she kind of goes, like that. It's usually a comedy beat when that doesn't work.
Yeah, and it's just it's weird all the way around. I find it somewhat offensive. I'm like, why do the guys always have to be dumb? So dumb. And if they're not, it's funny.
Yeah. I gotta admit, though, it's because we're normally very dumb.
I don't know. I was the guy that always resisted advances, so.
Yeah, it's just... the average one of us don't resist advances very well.
I swear most of my college career was laced with the phrase, that doesn't seem like a good idea. Followed by an angry female leaving my apartment.
Oh. Instead, my average college experience was laced with the phrase, go on.
I'm listening.
And a series of poor decisions poured from that.
Anyway, Gal Gadot had this to say for Wonder Woman actress. She said, "It's about time we showed the story of a female superhero." Agreed. It's not pushing for feminism, and what I mean by that is no one comes and preaches about equality and how come women are not allowed to vote or be in a Congress room. It's not about that. It's about the perspective of Diana coming from an island where everybody has the same rights. When she comes to this man's world, she finds it very odd that women don't get treated the same way because for her, gender is a non-issue. Can someone talk to the writers of Supergirl?
No, it sounds like you're going to want that, but they're still going to go through and say like, well, why isn't that a thing? And point it out. It's just they're going to do it in a more like subtle, understated kind of way. And honestly, like we there are times where we don't appreciate it on Supergirl where they like lean on it too hard.
Yeah. Where
you're just kind of going like, okay, I understand your point. I agree. But you're making the whole episode about this thing you're leaning into, and you need to pull back and make an episode.
Yeah.
I feel like with Wonder Woman, they're going to spend the right amount of time on it where it makes sense. You get the point across. You can relate to it, and maybe not make it so
heavy-handed.
Yeah, heavy-handed. It's probably the word I want here.
So Charles Roven.
There's really a way to express anything accurately, and then there's a way to do it too heavy-handed.
Well, fortunately, they can kind of lean into it, and that's part of the brilliance of setting it during World War I, because, obviously, women didn't have nearly the amount of rights or respect they have now, so they can kind of get heavy-handed with it, and it fit more naturally.
Yeah.
I feel.
No, as a period piece, no matter what they do, you're going to be like, yep, that's how that went. Couldn't even vote.
Yeah.
Go Diana.
Or ride a bike.
Yeah, or ride a bike. I think that was slightly previous, the not riding a bike thing. And I think that was British. Yeah. I'm not sure.
No, it was here too.
Was it here too?
Yeah, we did a story on it when I guested over on the Pursuit of the Trivial podcast. It's not really completely active now, but it was one that Matt Carroll and Spencer Roeder did. My brother-in-law Spencer.
Yeah.
And it was a whole thing where like they had like doctors like saying that like riding a bicycle could cause hysteria in women. It was ridiculous. It could cause
hysteria. Back when hysteria meant like wandering uterus, that was the technical term. It would make you insane for your uterus to wander. No, what are you talking about? That lead paint's fine, but don't you ride a bicycle? Yeah. Go ahead and rub that on your face. It's cool. It'll pell you up a little bit. You'll be more attractive. But don't get on the bicycle. it might make your uterus displace itself into your shoulder and therefore make you crazy.
It's phenomenal. Like, I kind of wish I could, like, kind of pop back in time for just, like, a week and laugh at people being like, I'm going to drink this radioactive water. It's amazing. It's a health drink. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Don't be riding that bicycle, woman. That'll hurt you. So anyway.
No, we're back in the time that we're like, oh, did you cough? Would you like some laudanum? It's only 50% alcohol and 50% heroin. It's cool. I mean, it'll slow your cough down, though.
Yeah, buddy.
Try not to get addicted.
So Charles Roven, on what sets Wonder Woman apart from the other superheroes over on Sci-Fi Now, said, if you look at Spider-Man, Batman, Superman, and Iron Man, none of them started out going, I'm going to be a protector. I'm going to be a great warrior. I'm going to fulfill my destiny because I want to emulate the people I grew up hearing stories about. What they did for people. What they did for mankind. What they did for the people they were protecting when they couldn't protect themselves. They may grow into that role or reluctantly accept that role. They may even try to run from that before they get pulled into it. But I think Wonder Woman is the only one who starts out saying, that's my destiny, and I'm going to pursue it, and nothing is going to stop me from doing it, not even my mother. I think her dynamic as a character, the way that she's insistent on making sure her destiny is one she makes for herself, I think that defines her also as being a very different kind of superhero, unless you look at Captain America, dude.
Yeah, but
pretty much just started out.
He wanted it, but he didn't have it at his disposal. That's probably an accurate description. Like, she was always meant to and wanted to be a hero.
Yeah, but you can say that about Captain America too. I mean, you look when they threw that grenade, everyone else ran. He jumped on top of it, even being a scrawny little piece of crap.
Yeah.
So now, I mean,
even though the shrapnel of that poor 160-pound dude would have pretty much destroyed everyone in the immediate vicinity.
Yeah. Now, what was funny about that?
Tiny osteoporotic bones just shredding his his colleagues.
His colleagues are like full of shrapnel.
Yeah.
Like, these don't look. This doesn't.
What's that in your eye? Oh, it's Steve's femur.
It's bones.
Yeah.
It's bone shards. But no. Funnily enough, though, John Shaw, president of the Theater Management Associates, has seen Wonder Woman, and he says, Wonder Woman, exciting and entertaining in every way. Great SFX and characters. Here's a summer blockbuster as good as Captain America, parentheses, 370 million.
Nah, I think it'll make more than that.
Yeah.
I'm betting on 450.
He also says, what summer film has a lot riding on its success? Wonder Woman. WB and DC Comics count on major success. Thus far, projections are strong.
I don't like when they group in DC Comics. Like, DC Comics is a different company, and they'll be fine with or without it. Like,
it's kind of a different company.
If the movies fail, they've still got print. They're a different thing.
Well, like, Warner Brothers owns both of them.
I know.
Like, Warner Brothers is Warner Brothers, and Warner Brothers owns DC Comics.
If the movies fail, they're not going to go like, we're not printing any more comics. Screw you guys. Never. Never.
Hey, man. Hey, look, we're talking about an age where, Marvel kind of shat all over Fantastic Four and discontinued their books because they didn't own them in the movies.
I mean, that can happen. But we're still talking about all the IPs being in the right place. It's just not a possibility. It's just not. Like that.
Yeah,
if anything, they'll sit there and let them grow and not think about it. Look the other way. Hey, is that a squirrel? What is that, a falcon or a hawk? Until they finally get to the point where, like, 8-10 years from now, they're like, oh, no one's paying attention. Look, another Batman movie.
Right.
They'll always do that. We're never going to run out of Batman movies. It's never going to happen.
Did you see this story about the guy in New York who shot a squirrel with a bow and arrow?
No.
He said he walked out into his front yard and there was a squirrel there and he went to shoo it away. And he claims the squirrel gave him a look. And he took it personal then. And he got his bow and arrow and shot the squirrel.
So there's a schizoaffective with archery skills in New York somewhere.
Yeah, he says the squirrel pulled the arrow out and ran away into a neighbor's yard or whatever.
Oh, dear God. The revolution has begun.
I hate it for the squirrel, man. I do. I felt bad for the squirrel.
I do feel bad for the squirrel.
I couldn't help but laugh about the dude. Just like, you nut. Like, he was arrested, thankfully. Like, what's wrong with you just shooting random animals because they gave you a look?
Probably should be detained for a minute. Let's take a look at this guy.
Yeah. You know how many people give me a look on a daily
It wouldn't
basis?
even be like, hey, I was firing arrows in my backyard and one of them went askew and I shot a squirrel. It's like, the squirrel gave me a look.
That squirrel.
If you have to utter the phrase, that squirrel gave me a look, I think a series of PhDs and MDs should give you a look.
Yeah.
Throwing that out there.
Well, they probably don't want to because you'll shoot them with an arrow.
You should probably be restricted at the time.
So
may I recommend a couple of benzos during the process?
Yeah. Gal Gadot was talking to Variety for their piece on the 75th anniversary of Wonder Woman, and she recalled her first day in full costume on BVS, and that was her first fan encounter. This little girl, the niece of a crew member, handed her a drawing of Wonder Woman and said, with a note, and it said that she wished Gal Gadot luck, and she was Wonder Woman's #1 fan. And Gal Gadot says that she keeps that with her.
That is cute.
Isn't it?
Yeah. That I would choke up if I was her.
Yeah. And Deborah Snyder said when she first saw her in the costume, she said she rolled a tear. She said the girl and my daughter, who is now 5, will be able to have a female superhero as a role model. They'll have this strong character to look up to.
So far, so good on that. She looks great.
Yeah, she absolutely does. Now, with the New York Times, Gal Gadot was talking about the costume controversy that's happened. She says, or that's been happening, she says, I think as a feminist, you should be able to wear whatever you like. In any case, there is such a misunderstanding of the concept. Feminism is about equality and choice and freedom. And the writers, Patty and myself, all figured that the best way to show that is to show Diana as having no awareness of social roles. She has no gender boundaries. To her, everyone is equal. We have seen so many male-driven stories, so the more strong female narratives we have, the better. I'm sure the movie will inspire girls, but you can't empower women without empowering men too. I hope Wonder Woman will be an icon for them too. Absolutely awesome.
Yes.
Do that. All of that. There's a Wonder Woman controversy brewing. It's already brewed. Apparently they made some deal with the ThinkThin diet company. Sort of it's a diet company. I don't know what you call it. They offer, low calorie crap. And people are pissed off. Like, this is not the Wonder Woman marketing we were hoping for. Because, Wonder Woman is supposed to be this feminist icon, and you're telling, Wonder Woman fans to think thin. And I get the concept of marketing to women with a line of products marketed primarily to women might be a good thing to people looking to make money. The thought that they would identify with Wonder Woman and consciously or subconsciously want to be like her and think, oh, I can be like Wonder Woman if I eat this crap. I understand that.
If I eat this cardboard installed with protein bits...
Right.
I can be Wonder Woman-y.
But here's the thing, there are very, gender-specific dieting, products. Mm-hmm. This is obviously very, geared toward women. The ones toward men, never say, anything about being thin. It's always about gaining muscle. Which is weird, because I'd rather be thin, but whatever.
Yeah, it's always about gaining weight.
Yeah.
You've met Michael.
Yes, I have met I've met Michael.
I got a friend, Michael. Great musician. Future Elevators. Go check him out. It's fantastic music. But
yeah, his previous band had a song on the Newsroom.
Oh no, yeah, they did that, and this band actually has a song on Shameless.
Nice.
Yeah, and fantastic music. He's always been a great musician. But I used to get so he's one of those he's my brother, man. I've known him for some 16 or 17 years now, and over half my life. And I used to get annoyed with him every now and then because he's one of those people that regularly weighs like 0.02% over his like, that's his body fat, is about 4 ounces.
Yeah.
And then every now and then he'd look at himself and we'd be talking or something in high school or whatever it was, and he'd be like, I've got to put on some weight. And I'm like, you need to go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
You want to borrow some? I can
Michael, at any
make
given
like
point,
a tube situation. Can siphon it.
At any given point, I've felt that I could probably floss with Michael if I had to.
Yeah. He he's my example though of like somebody that's always been perpetually in shape, but that example of like someone who like I'm perpetually just a little bit out of shape. Like at my skinniest, I still have love handles and like a little bit of stomach.
Yeah.
That's my skinniest. That's the most I can possibly do is I've still got like a little bit of pooch and a little bit of pooch, and you have to find that cute or we're not going to work. It's not going to be a 6-pack. Never going to happen.
When I first met Jason, I saw him change his shirt.
Yeah.
And like I saw him from the front and I could see his spine because he was that thin, but he still had love handles.
Still love handles. Still had that little bit at the bottom.
But no, I think that I think they probably thought this would be a good cross promotion because, they're trying to like alert women to the fact that, hey, you have a superhero, come check her out. I think that's what it's about. I think that's all it's about. I understand
the marketing as far as like them trying to get it in, but I do agree that it's not.
It's tone deaf.
It is tone deaf. It's completely tone deaf.
It's pretty tone deaf. But you get $5 off if you buy the ThinkThin food, and you get $5 off of the Wonder Woman ticket, which might, be a really good thing. I don't know.
That's fine. Also, if you boycott it, you get to keep your soul. That's good.
I think if you don't boycott it, you get to keep your soul. I honestly don't put a lot of stock into this crap. I really don't. Like, you can be angry that companies who are out to make money are like, I'm sorry. Are trying to make money, and they like looked at research and data, and they said, okay, yes, we're gonna go with ThinkThin because they have the most blah blah blah, and they're going to give us the most blah 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 for the blah blah blah, and all these women who are looking to get thin and are looking for a hero to look up to pay a certain amount of money and go, I get to go see Wonder Woman too, and that's $5 off, and that's a thing, and oh hey, I was gonna go watch that movie anyway, I might as well try this new product.
Sure.
It makes absolute sense.
Like if you want
to
take offense to it though, and like not spend your money and protest that way, great. But
sure.
At the same time, like Gal Gadot has her image on this product now, and don't blame her. Don't blame her.
It's not her fault.
She doesn't have control over that at all.
It's Wonder Woman.
Like,
and it's WB.
They slapped her on that. She did not get to go, no. She didn't get to approve it. It's not her fault.
And I would be remiss not to mention, it is tone deaf specifically, even if, you don't buy into the whole, like, body shaming argument and all of that, which I partially do. Because how could you not?
Yeah.
I'm a fat guy who's been body shamed my entire life. How could I not?
I understand.
But,
yeah, me too.
But, at the same time,
I once had someone like relentlessly make fun of me for 3 days because he saw a new pair of jeans and like laid on my bed. He came over to say hi real quick. We were pseudo friends, and it said Husky on the back.
Yeah.
I was in the Husky section. So like for 3 days until he forgot, and then he still brought it up as a recurring joke. Mm-hmm. I was Husky. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh no, see, I had the thing from, I had the thing from childhood where it's like, I'm like, I'm fat. And then it'd be like, you're not fat, you're big boned. Or you're not fat, you're husky. I'm like, what does husky mean? Husky means you're fat. That's a nice way of saying fat. I'm a fat guy.
Yeah, according to this guy, husky meant fat fuck. That was what I gathered.
Look,
and the rest of the people I hung out with apparently agreed with him. So, we came to terms on that, meaning I had to wear those anyway and moved on.
It's weird
because they were the right size.
Yeah, that's what you got to do.
Yeah,
but yeah, I mean, when I was, look, there's a reason you become a comedy nerd. I'm a comedy nerd. You have to find a way to get over your issues. That's how I came into it. Like, and I don't know. I became pretty calloused to it all, but
it helped a lot.
Yeah, you got to learn to not take yourself so seriously. I understand if you don't, if you can't get to that point and you feel really bad. It still stings a bit. I'm not in shape like I want to be. But I don't think there's. I think it is this whole thing is tone deaf because of the all of the crap about Wonder Woman, about Gal Gadot being too thin. All of the body issue crap that people were freaking out about her boobs aren't big enough, she's not big enough, she's not muscly enough, she's too thin. To have her like work off and get jacked to play this role, and then be like put her in like like pair her image in this movie with a company whose name is ThinkThin. It's bad on multiple levels, but I don't think there was malice there, is what I'm saying.
No,
not worth the time that's really being thrown into it.
Now, the focus on body in this movie has been weird so far, and
it was always going to be, because it's like the first major
iteration.
It's the first major female protagonist iteration, and there was Elektra, but we all knew that was going to suck. There was Supergirl in '84. Come on. No one was fooled.
We knew what was happening here.
I was one. Even I knew. I'm like, that's some horse shit. But
yeah.
I was one in a crib going, Helen Slater can't act.
It's not going to happen.
I'm kidding. But don't believe that. Anyway, moving on. Cool news. Wonder Woman is opening June 2nd in India. So the same day in India, they're hitting it all across the board, man.
Oh, yeah. The first weekend sales are going to be huge.
Huge.
Hitting Bollywood up with everything else. Yeah, they're going to be huge.
Yeah, man. I'm so excited for Wonder Woman, though. Like, it looks phenomenal. And
I really have this movie making $450 million.
You think?
I think so.
I don't know. I smell death in the wind.
Nah.
Not like enough death to like seriously cause like problems with the DCEU, but I feel like.
But you're not thinking as low as like 250, right?
Like domestic after all said and done.
All right, domestic alone, 275.
Domestic alone after all is said and done, movies out of the theaters. I'm thinking about 350 at most. But
I think 350 might be a little exaggerated, but 275 for me seems accurate.
Like I said, at most.
I wouldn't be surprised if it got to 450 though. At least 4.
I don't know. I don't know. There's a lot of anticipation for this thing, but did you see a critic? I don't remember his name because I didn't write it down. I didn't have active plans to talk about it, but whatever. There's a critic out there that
go for it, man.
Yeah, there was a critic out there that actively admitted that Marvel doesn't pay them, but they do ply them with liquor. Like,
well, that could be a good or a bad thing, though.
And DC doesn't. So, like, they basically, like, Marvel's giving critics perks and DC doesn't. Like, Warner Brothers doesn't.
All right, so the reviewers are alcoholics.
The reviewers, well, I mean, how could they not be? What is a reviewer but a failed movie creator? Like, what is a failed director or writer? And I say that doing a DC on Screen podcast reviewing television shows and movies.
Yeah, I get that. I
stand by my statement. Go look at our YouTube videos. But
yeah.
No,
but still, it seems like an overgeneralization.
I don't know. This guy just said that, like, he just stated that that's true. Like, Marvel gives them, like, freebies and liquor and stuff, and WB doesn't. Which has caused a big, like, wait, what? I knew it in the fandom. But Wonder Woman's getting a lot of good press. Still,
I've heard a lot of good vibes so far.
Even, like, the crappy things, the things that I've seen leading up to the release of Batman v Superman, of Suicide Squad, gosh, there were certain things coming out at this point that were like, it's not so good. Things are coming out about it, and all of that
last minute shit talk.
Yeah, and even the stuff on Wonder Woman has been like actively like minimal. Like, it's clear that they're like pulling everything they can together, and like even so far as to like bashing Justice League, like, here's why Wonder Woman's gonna be amazing and will save the DCU even if Justice League sucks. And but like the stuff that they are actually, the stuff they're actually hitting about Wonder Woman though is like stupid crap. Like, oh well, in the news trailer they finally fixed her armpit. I'm like, shut up.
That was
so stupid.
The biggest, weirdest non-issue I've run across in a while.
Yeah, it's. I don't know. Like, and people are like, Imagine Dragons. What? I'm like, that can't be good. Why? Shut up. You're not a person. You're a clickbait factory.
That band sells out theaters of thousands. I'm sorry. I mean, like, what did you want here? I mean, I'm sorry.
And
I'm open for better suggestions. I'm not saying that I'm a Imagine Dragons fan. I just. You can't shit on them just for being there. Yeah.
I'm sorry. There's a really popular thing that makes millions of dollars. Of course they're going to cross-promote, you dip. Like, I'm sorry it angers you because you're sad.
When you get to the point when where you're like top 4 in one of the like festivals, one of the big festivals where it's 3 days and you're like top 4 or 5 bands. If you show up in a trailer, I gotta give you props. I'm sorry. It's just, that's how, that's the math of it.
And Imagine Dragons is not my preferred band. Like, I don't listen to Imagine Dragons at all. But you know what? If they did a Wonder Woman trailer with Tom Petty, or Bob Dylan, or, Wilco or something, I'd be like, why?
Wouldn't make sense.
That doesn't make any sense.
Wouldn't make sense.
I don't need Wonder Woman saying, you don't know how it feels to be me.
No.
Let's roll another joint. Let's not.
No. The only like for me, it's always the Beatles, and the only. Well,
then you struck out with the Justice League trailer. That last Justice League trailer was the bomb, dude.
No, screw that. It was a good cover.
It was.
I stand by that cover. But if they had done Helter Skelter for the Wonder Woman trailer, I might have stood by that.
No, maybe, why don't we do it in the road? That would just be inappropriate on so many levels.
No, that one doesn't make sense at all.
I kind of want to see it now, just for the hell of it.
No.
Oh, man.
Although, like, do the reverse. Like, what if you did the Wonder Woman trailer with, like, all you need is love.
No, man. There's been so much clickbait about how like Wonder Woman is actually going to have color and stuff, and how it's going to be bright and happy. They should have done "Here Comes the Sun." Here comes the sun, doo 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 doo. Here comes the sun, and I say, "Yeah, man, that's what they should have done."
That would have been disconcerting.
You need us on your marketing team. WB.
We'll
quit this podcast. Hire us for your marketers.
No.
We'll do it.
You know what? Like, the scissor reel for Supergirl should feature Supergirl and Tyler Hoechlin's going to arrive for the last couple episodes.
Yeah,
Supergirl and Superman. It would be fun to do this weird contrast episode where, like, you see all this violence and you just hear "Here Comes the Sun." I would dig that.
Yeah, man. Seems like a lot of money, though, to spend on a TV show promo.
I know.
They should do one more Justice League trailer.
Depends on who owns it these days. I actually can't remember.
Yeah. They should seriously do one more Justice League trailer with Henry Cavill coming back as Superman in the trailer, and do the "Here Comes the Sun."
Mm-hmm. Oh, that would
Anyway.
be solid.
Right? Ah. Over to Justice League. Cinematographer Fabian Wagner revealed one of his favorite shots. It's that awesome shot of Batman on the gargoyle and like the skeleton gargoyle thing.
Uh-huh.
And the worm's eye view. He says, no doubt the most fun day I ever had shooting and one of my favorite shots. So, yeah, it's a pretty good shot. I would use it as a screensaver.
Nice.
Or a wallpaper or whatever you call it these days.
Yeah.
People are like, what's a desktop? Never mind. So, Zack Snyder wished Henry Cavill a happy birthday, mainly because it was his birthday. And
that's a good time to do it.
Yeah, May the 5th, he turned 34. Henry Cavill is my age.
Jesus.
And I looked so much older than he does. So Henry Cavill went onto social media and thanked everybody, the people who wished him a happy birthday. And he wished them a happy birthday, the people who were born May the 5th as well. And he also wished well for the military, because he comes from a military family. He's a good bloke all the way around.
Oh, he's
bloke
an Army brat?
because, yeah,
Oh.
a little bit.
All right.
A little bit. Now, recently, Junkie XL was talking about scoring Justice League. He says it's a massive undertaking, and I can't say anything about Justice League specifically, but I'll tell you this, and this was exactly the same experience that Hans and I had when we did work together on Man of Steel and Batman v Superman. It's like when you see a movie like that, these iconic superhero movies, some of them have a 60 to 80 year legacy. Multiple composers had a go at their themes. Multiple filmmakers did their version of these characters. It's very scary. You watch a movie and it's like, holy shit, now I have to come up with something. You've got sweaty hands and you're nervous and you talk about it over and over again, he said.
Fair enough.
But he says Snyder gave him some advice. He says, Zack said, there's only one thing you can do, and that is embrace this character as if it's your own. Keep it close to your musical soul, and just do whatever you feel is the right thing to do for this character. That's the only thing we can do. That's what all these great directors did back in the day, and that's what all these great composers did back in the day. Ooh, excuse me.
You're excused. No, I say hippie nonsense. The fear is the part that makes sense to me.
No, I think it's keep it close to your musical soul. That sounds great. Embrace the character as if it's your own. That sounds great.
Hippie nonsense.
That's not hippie nonsense, Jason. I refuse to believe that. That sounds right to me. Like, if I were to embrace something... And of course, that's Zack saying that. He embraces these characters as if they were his own, and people piss on him because of it. So,
and I respect him for, doing that while he's being pissed on. You got to respect that. You really do. Like, it as much slack as he takes, he just carries on.
Yes.
But it's hard to be like, no, just keep these characters close to your musical soul. It's a sentence that doesn't make any sense. You're like, yeah, but which note should I play?
It makes sense because it's a fancy way of saying, pretend that this character is your own character. Interpret it the way you want to interpret it. Yeah, make it your own. What the hell does that mean, Jason? What does that mean? That's as nonsensical as keep it close to your musical soul.
I completely agree.
Sense. None of that makes any sense.
Completely agree.
When you're talking about creative stuff, you can't get too hung up on what makes sense and what doesn't. It comes from a weird place.
But that's the fun part, is like when I say hippie nonsense, I might be like, you phrased it wrong. And if someone came at me with the exact same concept and they just said it differently, I'd be like, you're a goddamn genius.
By the way, someone who loves the Beatles as much as you do should never seriously utter the phrase hippie nonsense.
I love it enough that I can. I'm qualified to do that. Few people are as qualified.
Have you heard Mark Maron talk about the mean hippies? Like,
no.
He's like, I can't remember who he was talking to somebody about like, yeah, I mean, I grew up around hippies, but they were mean hippies. And he was like, oh, you had an experience with the mean hippies. Like, yeah, they were mean hippies. They're like, you got to believe what we believe. Or I don't know, man.
Oh, there's always like a mean clique. It is. It's like, there were mean hippies, there were mean punk, there were mean goth, there were mean hipsters now.
Yeah.
There's always going to be a mean subfaction of like, you don't fit in with our ideals.
Anyway, so asking when he was asked about actually shooting or not shooting, actually doing the score for Justice League, Junkie XL says, "I'm not at liberty to say anything, not even that. If you call me back first week of November, then I can talk all you want about it." So yeah,
I like the line. Doesn't make sense, but I like the line. I feel like he could describe the music without doing any spoilers, but
yeah,
I like I like where his head's at, though. I do.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe he can't. So, Doug Liman was talking to Collider's Christina Radish about his new film, The Wall, and she asked if he was still working on Justice League Dark, and because we haven't heard anything about Justice League Dark in a while,
mm-hmm.
And he says, "Yeah, I have a really amazing take on it." Well, that's really
okay.
Gosh, dude, that's not egotistical. He says, "I have a really amazing take on it."
It's an amazing property as it is. You could just
Yeah.
do a take on it and not have to apply that adjective.
He says he has an amazing take on it that is in keeping with my approach to superheroes. Jason Bourne is a superhero of sorts. Aaron Taylor Johnson and John Cena in The Wall are superheroes. They're very grounded, but the amount of training and stuff that soldiers bring to the field, they're like Iron Man. If they open up another pouch, they've got another thing. It's amazing how resourceful they are and how much stuff they bring into the field. They're like superheroes. So I'm really excited with Justice League Dark. Note that he's saying Justice League Dark, not Dark Universe.
Mm-hmm.
To actually look at what it's like if I actually tackle a real superhero, but it's not going to look that different from my other superheroes. He also says I have to have a passionate connection to my films, which I do with Justice League Dark. Again, Justice League Dark.
Mm-hmm.
I have a way into the story that's personal, the way I have a connection to The Wall. He's really pushing the wall.
Mm-hmm.
Not that I've ever been a soldier or been in the field, but the level of perseverance and the fact that Aaron Taylor Johnson and John Cena just keep picking themselves up when all seems lost. I feel a connection to that. I feel like I have a little understanding of that because in my own way, I've had moments of despair and that all is lost and I've picked myself back up. I feel I feel movies I choose to do after it are guided by the experience I have in the previous movie. I chose Mr. and Mrs. Smith specifically because I had just made the Bourne Identity and made a film that glamorized being an action hero, and I wanted to make the exact opposite. I wanted to make a movie that glamorized maintaining a marriage, and that made the action hero part seem easy and made the marriage part seem hard. The Wall is a reaction to Edge of Tomorrow, where I was like, I don't need time travel and aliens to take a hero and pin them down in an impossible situation. I can do it in a much simpler way. And that was The Wall. The paint is still wet on the wall. I'm not sure what I'm going to take away from it, and therefore what I'm going to want to do next. So, yeah. And then he was talking with Cinema Blend, and he says, I think a lot of people will be surprised how character-driven and how intimate Justice League Dark is in kind of a field of bloated comic book movies. We found a way to do something that's actually really personal and small, and that's my goal. My new movie, The Wall, is about character. This scenario allows me to dive into what I think is, I just love people. I love putting people in crazy situations. For John Constantine, we have an amazing setup for him. For Justice League Dark, that's really human. I don't know what that means, but that's fun.
Sure.
That's fine. I'm interested. He was talking to IGN, and they asked him if he was excited to get to work on Justice League Dark, and he says, yeah, I mean, first of all, I love those characters, and I love Warner Brothers, and I love Scott Rudin, and you know, I get asked to come in and do things that are unconventional. If people want conventional, they don't come to me. It's why doing Invisible was like right up my alley. Because how can you be conventional when there aren't even conventions that exist? So, whatever. I was kind of surprised he mentioned Invisible and not The Wall.
Right.
But, I think the big takeaway here is that Justice League Dark is still happening, which I had honestly kind of decided was not somewhere in my mind.
I'd still have to hear something more than an interview to be sure about it. I mean, really, like it.
Yeah.
I'm glad he's optimistic about it, but let's find out.
Yeah.
Let's do a little more research.
Something that is in production as of this week.
Yep.
Aquaman. Started production May 7th.
Over in Australia?
And yeah, James Wan released the first behind the scenes pic. It's a picture of what looks like a submarine. There's a slate board in the foreground. It says Day One on it, and it says Ahab, because we know that's the shooting title.
Sure.
And it says, months of intensive prep have led to this. Here we go. Hashtag Day One. Hashtag Ahab. I'm pretty excited about Aquaman. I cannot believe they're shooting an Aquaman movie. Like, it just doesn't register with me on any kind of real emotional level. I just can't imagine it. Like, I cannot believe. Like, for so many years. From, like, that time in 95 when I'm sitting in the theater watching Batman Forever and they mention Metropolis and I'm like, ah! I never just, like, I used to have conversations with my good friend Christopher Glennon. We used to talk every night on, like, the Instant Messenger. We met on AOL back in like, gosh.
Oh, the old AIM.
Me and Christopher Glennon used to talk about what we would do, and we would, like, pitch each other trilogies, essentially, that would lead up to Justice League. Mm-hmm. And how we would build cinematic universes before there ever was such a thing as far as comic books were concerned. This is, like, pre-Marvel and stuff.
Sure.
And, oh my gosh.
Before any of this was feasible.
Oh, yeah. We just daydream about this crap all day.
Right.
And then, like, sit down at night and write to each other and talk to each other about this stuff. So this is just beyond my wildest dreams here. I mean, even officially,
yeah. This isn't a character that was supposed to have his own film. It's literally a joke on Entourage. Which is a joke series.
Yeah, I never saw it because, why would I? But
I watched a few seasons. It was mildly amusing while I was falling asleep.
Yeah, a few seasons.
It was one of those where, like, I would put on, like, while I was getting sleepy.
There's no version of the phrase mildly amusing that intersects with a few seasons in my life. I don't have time for that.
I should point this out. It was at the same time where I was, like, catching up with everything that happened during the writer's strike.
Well, writer strikes, that can be forgiven. Writer strikes will make us do crazy things.
Now, I did get to... Actually, I spent most of the writer strike catching up on Ed, and I regret nothing.
No, you shouldn't.
That is
amazing.
It's a very slow show. Like, that show should have moved faster, but it was a lot of fun.
Look, man, I mean, at the end of the day, though, is Tom Cavanaugh and Julie Bowen. I can't imagine two more charismatic leads.
No. And you got Michael Ian Black as a side note. That's not bad.
Well, there was a very, very specific reason I didn't mention him. I'm not a fan. But
I am.
I know you are.
I stand against you.
Well, please, let's have a 30-minute conversation about how Michael Ian Black is.
We should definitely do that.
Something.
We should definitely have 30 minutes worth of conversation about Michael Ian Black and his integrity.
Yeah. Just shoot right on
as
back
a comedian.
Last week.
Yeah.
The official logo for Aquaman was released. I think it looks fine. People are complaining about it, complaining that it looks like a I don't know, warped Star Trek symbol, the Alpha symbol from Star Trek. I don't think so. I think it looks like the Aquaman logo, man. I really do. I think it looks like that.
Symbol. It's like it's a variation of an A.
Yeah,
they're just very similar.
And look, man, I don't want to piss on Star Trek. Claim they did something that was derivative of something else. But I mean, let's be honest. Aquaman existed about 30 years before Star Trek, so screw.
Sure, but like think about fonts. Think about fonts as an example here. Like you only have to change something very slightly to have it named another font. I mean,
yeah,
these things are very subtle. Like,
yeah, there are only so many things you can do. Period. And this looks like the Aquaman logo. It looks like what's been on his belt since day one.
Yeah, as that goes, like visually, he's fine.
Yeah,
I'm not crying copyright infringement here. He's fine.
No, see, people have too many references now. Oh, it looks like a blah blah blah. No, shut up. It doesn't. It looks like the thing that it was. I'm sorry you associate it with Star Trek and the Star Trek symbol. You're an idiot.
Yeah.
Go back and look at before you make your little comment on the internet. You can just type in, Aquaman and find out when he was created and go, oh, never mind. Anyway, so I we know our reputation on this show. I'm not going to know this guy's name. I'm not going to be able to say it, but they have cast a young Arthur Curry for the movie, and Otis Danige, who is 13, and this is going to be his feature film debut, and he was in Colin Friel's Martito, which is was a stage production about the drug trade over there, and it was apparently pretty popular. The kid did a good job, and now he's going to be in Aquaman as a young Arthur Curry, and that's going to be a fine thing. I'm assuming, I'm hoping. Hopefully, it won't be like that kid in Batman Begins, and. I've actually, in my memory, I've replaced that kid in Batman Begins with David Masseuse from Gotham.
Oh, no, that's doing him too many favors.
No, I've just replaced him. He doesn't exist anymore. It's just David Masseuse.
It's doing those films too many favors.
Why do we fall, Master Broche? Because I want to kick some ass, Alfred. Fair enough.
I'm sorry, I'll never forgive those films for, at some point, Christian Bale is out there trying to rebuild Wayne Mansion with a hammer. Ham and a hammer.
Wayward billionaire. A wayward billionaire.
Doesn't have a set of nails. Doesn't have a doesn't have a set of nails divided by pennies either. Just nothing.
Just looks like he's gonna wander
ham
upon
and
a wayward. He's just gonna wander upon a wayward 2x4 and just hit it.
Yeah. It feels like it's gonna be like a Mario kind of effect where he hits the hammer a few times and it just rebuilds part of the castle.
Yeah.
I can't stop unseeing that.
Yeah, what you have to do is pull a Star Trek Generations with the crashed Enterprise.
Yeah.
Instead of having him with a hammer, because a hammer's not gonna do anything right now. You have him moving stuff and pulling stuff out.
Mm-hmm.
These are family heirlooms. You have him actively picking up things that fell, that burned and fell, and salvaging things. That's what you do in that scene. Just a little filmmaking tip for Christopher Nolan.
You just grab half a burned teddy bear and walk out with that, right, and call it a day. No, nothing like that. Or a
photo album.
He just stands in the cinders of what once was a parlor and hammers things with what appears to be a 15-pound hammer.
Yeah. I mean, look, man, I'm not a filmmaker. I just, I promise those films aren't...
While wearing about
I just
$350 worth of shirt and pant.
I just promise that Dark Knight trilogy is not as good as you think it is. Anyway. Moving on. Apparently, according to Humberto Gonzalez, who is, a lot of the time right, he says that Ben Affleck, Batman, I just got word that he just started training again for the role. You know how there was talk that he was going to leave and he might leave the role? Nah, bro. He's working out. He's getting back in shape.
After
Let's do
rehab,
that.
I suppose.
Now, this next piece of news, after rehab. Well, you have to bring up rehab. I'm trying to have a positive show here.
That is positive. He had a problem. He faced it. He dealt with it, and now he's
positive,
getting back in shape. Like I'm proud for him.
Yeah, me too. You can do it, Ben. I love you, buddy.
Absolutely not a knock.
Since Chasing Amy, I loved him.
Have a problem, deal with it, face it, knock it out. Great job, Ben.
Anyway, this next piece of news, though, I really hope happens. Michael Giacchino wants to compose Batman.
Where is he from?
He says, if I had the opportunity, it depends on who's making it and who's involved, but I would love to. I love Batman. Now, if you happen to not know who that is, or, if you're thinking like, well, he says it depends on who's making it. Well, who's making it is his buddy Matt Reeves, who he worked on War for the Planet of the Apes with. If you want to know what else he's done, if you just don't know who this cat is, Michael Giacchino has 125 composer credits to his name. You may have heard of a few of these. Zootopia, Rogue One, Doctor Strange, Star Trek Beyond, Star Trek Into Darkness, Star Trek, Jurassic World, Inside Out, Tomorrowland, the TV series Fringe, Lost, Alias, Alcatraz, the movie Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol, Mission Impossible 3, Speed Racer, 50-50, Super 8, Cars 2, Up, Land of the Lost, Ratatouille, The Incredibles, the video game Call of Duty, the video game Medal of Honor Frontline. This is just a selection, guys.
Jesus.
Forthcoming
All right, so just every movie he had time to make.
Forthcoming projects.
Like if
Incredibles
he wasn't
2,
already assigned
Jurassic World 2.
a project. If he literally had time in his day, apparently he just did the next thing.
Yeah, he's doing War for the Planet of the Apes with Michael Reeves. Or Matt Reeves, sorry, not Michael. Matthew Reeves. He's also doing Spider-Man Homecoming. And he still wants to do Batman. He loves Batman. He wants to do Batman. I love Michael Giacchino. I listen to his Star Trek stuff on repeat. He's a return to form. He's like in the John Williams camp, but he also has what makes Hans Zimmer great. He's got the theme, he's got the march, but he's also got like the ethereal type of sound that I really love, that made Lost and Fringe really fun. Even when I heard like the We're Going on a Mission march that he did for Lost and Fringe, I still loved him. Like, I have soundtracks by this guy. He's phenomenal. He's just so good. And I would love if he did Batman. Absolutely. Hands down. Yes, please. Let's make this happen.
Nice.
Now, a piece of news I'm not happy about. Apparently Josh Gad might be the Penguin for the Batman movie. He posted a picture of the Penguin with no caption, no context. Some fans kind of freaked out a bit because he's a fat dude, if I can say that. That's what he's made his career on, being like, he's been in a lot of comedies as like usually like the witless, overweight guy. I don't like Josh Gad. He was in that White House comedy with Jenna Elfman.
Yeah.
Linking to, I guess, Batman composers. So he was in that movie. Do you remember that movie? That TV show, that stupid show where he's like the son of the president and he's just awful.
Yeah, vaguely. I do.
He's in the new Beauty and the Beast, and he's kind of making a wave right now in Hollywood. And he put up a picture of the Penguin, and then it turns out that like a bunch of people followed him, like high-ranking muckety-mucks like John Berg and Jeff Johns on Twitter. They followed him, which you know what that means. So he might be the Penguin.
Apparently, like, following someone on Twitter means they're probably the thing right now.
Yeah, and, I am willing to give it a shot.
It may not be the end of the world, but...
No. I don't like him. I don't like him for the Penguin. I don't like him, period. I don't like Josh Gad. Like, I heard him on something. I don't remember what it was.
Frozen?
But he actively... No. It was an interview show. I don't even know what it was. There comes a point, but it may have been an episode of Dennis Miller, like one of Dennis Miller's. I used to listen to Dennis Miller all the time.
Yeah.
For you never knew when he'd had Norm Macdonald on. They would just like talk about old movies and stuff instead of talking about politics. That was nice.
Those are good episodes.
But yeah, I don't know if it was that or what, but it was. I don't know. I don't care for the guy. Like I don't know him personally, obviously, and he might be. I'm sure he's a nice guy and everything. I've just never liked anything he's done that I've seen, and I can't imagine him as being Penguin. I feel like it's just like a thing of like, oh, you're an overweight short guy. Yeah, you're the Penguin.
That might be enough.
I don't know.
In all fairness, that might be enough.
I'm over here weeping, going like, why do you not have Badger from Firefly playing the Penguin? What is wrong with you people? But whatever. That's just me.
I don't know if he'd fit.
That's just me. What?
I don't know.
Badger is the Penguin.
Don't know. Don't know if he'd fit on screen.
I don't even know you anymore, man. No, over in an interview with Variety, Guy Ritchie was talking about how he would love to do Suicide Squad. He said, Suicide Squad.
Yeah,
2.
Suicide Squad.
He says,
yeah,
Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
He said, I quite fancy
doing
doing
movie
Suicide.
about a bunch of giant squids who lose their ink and try to find the ink.
No. He says, I quite fancy doing Suicide Squad 2 because I thought I could do a good job with it. I can't do it because I'm doing something else, but I felt I could really do something with that.
Oh.
I would, part of me, like the part of me that loves Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, the part of me that loved Snatch, thinks like, yes, let's do that. But then there's the other
Those
part
are
of
fun
me.
movies.
Yes. But then there's the other part of me that saw Revolver and that saw those awful Sherlock Holmes movies with RDJ.
Okay, the first one was pretty fun.
Those.
The second one was bullshit.
They were both awful.
No, the first one was pretty fun.
Boring.
No, I'll stand by the first one.
Stand by it. I'm still scoffing at you. It was awful.
Someone has to stand up, and I'll be there for it.
So,
second one, bullshit.
If we're talking about, more Lock, Stock type of stuff, yeah, I could see him doing Suicide Squad too. If we're talking, the other stuff.
Of course, but he's probably past that in his career at this point.
But you know what? I honestly feel like Revolver, even if we disagree about the Sherlock Holmes movies, which people have on Twitter, disagree with me about those movies, and that's fine. Even if we disagree with that, they didn't disagree with me about Revolver. Because Revolver was a piece of crap. It was awful.
Never watched it.
It was awful. Like, when I lived with Matt Carroll over the MCU cast, we watched this thing on, like, Netflix or something. And Revolver was so bad. We both hated it vehemently. Like, Matt and I don't agree on movies very often. We hated this thing. It was awful.
Takes a lot to bring you two together.
And we quite enjoy sitting down watching a ridiculous Jason Statham movie, but this was not one that we could get behind.
Right.
Anyway, so there's a new there's a new video out there from Comic Books versus the World, and it's on YouTube, and I'll provide a link in the show notes, and it's pretty fun. I don't know if you watched this thing. I sent it to you. I think I did.
I did.
Yeah?
I kind of enjoyed, like, I haven't gotten to play with physics in a while. I really loved physics. So, for me, this was like a nice revisitation.
Yeah, this guy is like figuring out, and he goes to great lengths to figure out how strong Batman is in Batman v Superman.
Right.
And he calculated the mass of Batman's arm is about 7.3 pounds or 3.3 kilograms.
Mm-hmm.
And
he
figured out.
I actually wished he had not gone between the pounds and kilograms thing as much. I would have been able to remember it better.
Yeah. He figured out that the acceleration of Batman's punch is like 66.7 stuff. I don't even know. I'm not a math guy. But anyway, multiplying.
I think it was like something Pascals. I forget the speed on that.
Miles per second squared or something. I don't even
know. No, I wouldn't even go with that one.
I don't have any idea. He actually said it. I don't remember it. I'm just not a math guy. But basically, 49 pounds of force is his punch, is Batman's punch, and I implore you, if you know what I'm talking, if you know what I mean, or know what it really said, and you know I got it wrong because I know I did, don't tweet me. I'm not gonna remember what you said. I don't care.
All right.
Don't correct me.
Now I very quickly I will run over this though.
Yeah, you do that.
I did watch that and the Superman one.
I didn't look at the
Superman. Just thought I would catch up, just to see what we had to deal with, and 346 kilograms is the most I could find Bruce Wayne dropping, and it's when he has all the weights on his back and he's dropping it off his back, and that doesn't include like there were some things that he didn't include in his math, like when you're pulling a tractor tire, that rope exercise, you're not just pulling 600 pounds, and that's I think he said it was 300 or 600 pounds, the average, but you're pulling that versus the static friction point. Like you have to actually, there's more math to that. You can't just do like pounds this way.
Yeah.
It's not just like mass times 9.8 times this way. You have to actually do extra things to it. So as far as I could find though, or as far as he said in his videos, it was like 346 kilograms, which roughly 45-ish% kilograms to pounds. So it's we'll call it like 750 pounds, 800-ish, that Bruce Wayne drops off his back when he's doing the training montage.
Yeah, he said that came to like the most was 764 pounds.
Yeah, including
the bar itself.
Like that's the most of that. Here's the fun part: you go to the Batman, or you go to the Superman one. There's some Child's Play in there. There's some like BVS, and then there's the subtitle in the background. I gotta give this guy credit, man. He did. It's very generic math, but it makes sense. It has to do with like density of tectonic plates and volume of the average tectonic plate.
That is not generic math to me. I'm over here counting on my fingers, dude. Like, I'm glad you're looking down on this and going, this is generic math. No, it doesn't involve like taking out like an area and doing stuff. It's like, okay. And it takes advantage of, like, you remember like Superman moves tectonic plate in the background of one of those like newspaper headlines? Well, you do the generic math of it, and it's like there are 15 tectonic plates on the Earth that we have to deal with, and you do the math of like what each one might include, and then you do the math on it. Really, it's just a matter of bringing it down to like the average of each, and still it's 24 times 10 to the 18th kilograms. Sure.
Which is,
I say that like I know what you're talking about, which I don't.
Which is like it's roughly 30 times 10 to the 30th pounds. Mm-hmm. It's literally 30 with 30 zeros behind it. Mm-hmm. That's the amount in this universe that this Superman has moved.
Okay, and that's a lot.
30, and then put 30 zeros behind that.
I'm just messing with you at this point, man.
And then put LB.
I'm just messing with you, man.
It's a bit.
Yeah. Now he also did. He figured out that the Batman. The Batman suit, the armor suit that he fights Superman with at the end, is makes him 28 times stronger.
Yeah, it's like 850 pounds worth of force.
1,420 pounds.
Oh,
1,420 pounds of force.
Oh no! When he like jumps on him in that little like skylight shot, it's like 850 pounds that he's dropping on him.
Anyway, moving on, I guess. That's a cool video, though. I suggest you go
it
watch it.
It was a cool video. It's a cool concept to like dick around with. I mean, it's all speculative and kind of fun.
Yeah. I thought we'd heard the last of this kind of story, but why not? Ike Barinholtz over at the I don't know, NZ Herald News. What does NZ stand for?
Not zoned? I don't know.
New Zealand?
Maybe?
I don't know. I don't know. I'm sure somebody will tell us. He played the prison guard Griggs in Suicide Squad, and he says that in the scene where Joker's interrogating him, he says that Jared Leto came in and he's supposed to be intimidating Griggs, and he says he comes in, he's the Joker, and he starts squeezing my tits. He's like panting and moaning, "You're a big guy." This is when while we were filming. Then he freaking grabs me and kisses me on the mouth. Full kisses me. Cameras were rolling, and none of this was in the script. I thought, okay, I'm just going to go with it. But then he's like panting and moaning again. Did someone piss their pants? I'm like, now I did because you said I did.
I don't want to be more offended. I just keep thinking it's hilarious.
A little bit. So, last piece of news for the DCEU podcast. Billy Crudup was answering a question about when the Flash might film. He says it's unclear at the moment. I think Ezra's a busy man. He's very popular and excellent. So that doesn't really give us a lot of hope for the Flash.
That is weird.
Soon.
Yeah, that's not a good thing to say.
Yeah.
No. Well, I don't know. He's kind of too popular to be here on set. It's not that. No, that's not good.
Was that Lorne Michaels?
No.
I don't know. He's just really not. He's too popular to be on set. We're not going to really be filming The Flash for probably a few years. He's a little too popular.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's all of our news. We got some fan feedback. Sherman Smith on Facebook said, "Great cast with Matt Carroll. It was like listening to DC on screen and the MCU cast combined. I understand Matt's annoyance with Abrams. While I don't feel the same way about Abrams, I am annoyed with Nick Spencer, the current writer of the Captain America comics." I don't know what that means.
A lot of people are. That's the Hydra thing.
Yeah, okay. I thought I saw that he was back to being a Hydra guy again. I don't know. I haven't kept up with Captain America comics. Like, honestly, like, look, I love Marvel, I love DC. Last several years, Marvel comics have not been good. They just haven't been good. I haven't liked them.
So far, the consensus as far as sales go. They haven't been there.
Like,
now, I mean,
yeah.
They both tried to do like a rebirth event, and Marvel was doing really well. Like the last 10 years, Marvel was beating them, and then the last couple of years, the last year or so, and the rebirth event, DC's actually kind of getting it back.
Yeah, I feel bad for them because Marvel's in a tough place. Like they did like this like New 52 rebirth type of thing over there in the comics, and like they killed Peter Parker, and they brought in Miles Morales, who's like an ethnic kid. He's like Spanish and black or something, and apparently as a fan favorite, they turned Iron Man to like a 15-year-old black girl. They like brought that in, and they got Falcon to be Captain America, and they did all this stuff where they changed everybody up ethnically and gender wise, and the sales really dropped. That's not the reason. I've read some of the stuff. It's bad writing. Period. That's the issue. I mean, yes, it's not great that you have movies out with certain characters and then your comics have completely different characters. They probably should have thought that through a little better. But, and now they're going through a thing where they're like, okay, we're going back to the old characters, all the old characters, and we're doing away with all these ethnic characters, and now all of a sudden it's just like, well, why would you do away with all the ethnic characters?
No, you wrote yourself into a weird place there.
I feel bad for them in a way, but I kind of like, you did this to yourselves.
Yeah. Morales though did actually go over pretty well as far as I hear.
Oh yeah,
like he went over great.
I hear they're getting rid of him too, though. I don't understand why.
Yeah, the girl who replaced Iron Man, not as much.
Yeah, I don't know what that was about.
I think it's just I don't know. I think people just gotten used to I think they just didn't want to leave Iron Man at this point. I mean, I think
Well, look, I mean, like I said, the issue is, you go and you see an Iron Man movie, you got Tony Stark, or in some cases, Tony Stank, whatever one you want to adhere to. That's right. I enjoyed parts of that movie. Mm-hmm. And then you go to your comic shop and you go, I'd like to see, pick up an Iron Man. And you pick up an Iron Man and you're like, oh, look at the Iron Man doing the thing. And then Iron Man takes off his helmet. It's like a 15-year-old girl. What? Well, where's Tony?
What did I miss?
And you're like, well, maybe I'll go check out this Captain America because I enjoyed that movie a fair amount.
Why is he Hydra? What happened? Why is he on the other team?
Like sometimes he's Falcon and sometimes he's Hydra. I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
I have no idea what's going on in these books, but it all seems awful. And I've just seen people posting, Marvel fans even like posting scans of the books and going like, "What is this dialogue?" And I'm like, looking at the dialogue, going, "This is really bad."
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
I don't want any of this to be bad though. So,
any Marvel fans, just take heart. Like these things happen over the course of years. I mean. Like, DC fans, we all just went through 52. It was kind of just not great.
Yeah,
I'm being kind. I'm being kind by describing it that way. It was not great. Rebirth is actually like a lot better direction. I feel like we're moving in the right way.
You know why? Because they're restoring the things that we loved.
Yes, because they're pretty much bringing back the original timeline and like focusing on... I think focusing a lot on the things that went poorly.
Yeah.
Like focusing on the feedback of like, well, this didn't go well. We should probably have Diane and Oliver hook up again.
Importantly, I think it's reboot times are tumultuous times for all comic book fans.
They are. It's risky, and I actually respect the executives for like doing it. I
don't.
No, I actually do. I really do. It's there's a moment where like your cells are at a point and you have to make a decision. You have to like take a chance. Mm-hmm. It takes a lot of balls to take that chance. Now, when you get it wrong and you like admit it later and run the other way with it, even more points. But I mean, but it's a business at the end of the day, and you have to take a chance every now and then and just do something out of left field. And like I get that, but
yeah, and I think it was one of the things they have going for them is the fact that the mainstream media doesn't understand. Period. So like you kill Superman for just a minute, they're like, they're killing Superman. The law ever since 19 and like no, don't bring in the 30s.
No.
You don't understand the multiverse, Anyway.
Until you can talk confidently about the crises, don't bring this up.
So, to Sherman Smith, I say, take heart. I'm sure it'll not be the same thing soon. I'm sure they'll rewrite that or undo that somehow.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if they don't, well, that's dumb.
To sum it up, well, that's dumb.
But I hate Hydra. I'm so tired of Hydra. Like I've had like 2 or 3 movies
bored with Nazi storylines in general.
I'm tired of that. I'm tired of whatever.
Yeah.
Brooklyn Batman over on Twitter at Abandapart94. He says, "Tell Jason he was missed. Loved the Feige joke. LMAO." I replied to him on Twitter, I don't know what the Feige joke was. Like he said, there was another tweet where he said I burned Feige, Kevin Feige, the guy over the MCU cinematic universe there. I don't know what I said, and I haven't had time to go back and listen to it.
I haven't had time either to go back and listen to what I missed.
I can't think of anything I know about Kevin Feige that I could stick him on.
Hopefully he'll write in. I can also say though, I'm sorry. I would rather have been here too. I was hugging porcelain when this thing was recorded.
Yeah. Right. Well, you were missed though, so that's a good thing.
I really appreciate being missed. That's
yeah, it's better than coming back and being like, never let Jason back on the show.
Yeah, that would have been absolutely heartbreaking, right?
Yeah. So last week on the show, Matt asked me if the Flying Fox in Justice League was a reference to Lucius Fox, and I was like, oh, probably so. Eli Oppelders, who has his own phenomenal podcast called Stealing the Remote, says Flying Fox has nothing.
Favorite concepts of all time.
Oh yeah, like he basically forces his mom to watch movies that he enjoys.
Yeah, just conceptually A+.
It's phenomenal. She's just like, there is too much violence. I do not like it. Why is there so much violence? It's pretty amazing. And he just like pitches her on these shows that they've just watched. She's like, I fell asleep. I don't know. It's really phenomenal. They're hilarious. They're great.
Nice.
But he says Flying Fox has nothing to do with Lucius Fox or foxes. Apparently, it's the largest species of bat on the planet. Which is cool. I didn't know that.
That's, yeah, points.
Which, oddly, I feel like I did know that and then and just forgot it. Like, I feel like we talked about it on the show somewhere.
I don't remember ever talking about that in particular.
There was also a point in the show last week where me and Matt discussed Batman Returns and the awful Catwoman line, "Life's a bitch, and now so am I." And Eli writes, I feel like the "Life's a bitch, and now so am I" line could have worked only if Michelle Pfeiffer had been Dog Woman.
Oh. Oh, Lord.
I thought that was funny, so I included it in the show.
No, that would be fantastic if it was like... All right, imagine the Killing Joke, but as portrayed by dogs.
I'd rather not.
Yeah, hang with me. And when she tells the pre-Joker comedian that she's pregnant, imagine that line.
We are DC on screen.
It's pretty much the only place I could actually put it.
Oh. You can find every episode.
I'm good with just walking away from what just happened. I'm okay.
You can find every episode
just
at DC.
Stroll in the opposite direction.
I'm trying like hell, buddy. DCOnscreen.com, guys, for every free episode. And that's all of them. That's all 378 of them at this point.
Oh,
and
Lord.
You can talk. I know, right?
Yeah.
You can talk to us on, go over and talk to us on Twitter and Facebook, DC On Screen, that's one word. You can even hit us up on Instagram if you're feeling special sporty. We occasionally will drop some pictures there. And we're going to be coming right back with a DC TV news episode. We are proud members of the Giant Says Team Up Network. A lot of good shows over there, like the Marvel Cinematic Universe podcast, for instance, and Panel by Panel, and Breaking the Panel, and Booze and Phasers. I never remember all of them. There's so many of them now.
There's a lot of them.
That network has grown like mad.
Yeah.
And also proud members of the Batman Podcast Network. Like I said, coming right back with DC TV news. And we love you guys. Until next time, keep some DC on your screen.
A lifetime of hard work. Children laughing in the kitchen. Family photos on a restaurant wall. A legacy that lives on. It all comes from the power of a conversation. Like the one Tommy Hall had with First Horizon Bank about taking over his father's Charleston-based restaurant business. Now the table is set for a whole new generation. First Horizon Bank. Let's find a way. Go to firsthorizon.com/Tommy. First Horizon Bank, member FDIC.